Good afternoon. Exciting week for our program as we get ready to go to Madison, Wisconsin for a game in one of the really exciting venues in college football, from what I've been told. I have never been there, but I've been told that, and even by my 13-year-old son I've been told that, so he's watched it on TV. To play a really good football team, 6-2 Wisconsin team. Coach Christ has done an excellent job in his first year back at Wisconsin, a place he had a lot of familiarity with. They've done a good job on offense, and they play great defense. They present a lot of challenges to us. Questions?
Kyle, seems like every week we're asking about how you prepare for the quarterback, the opposing quarterback. You just prepare for Stavi, considering he was cleared, or how do you go about preparing for Wisconsin's quarterback?
You know, watching the Illinois game, Joel got hurt pretty early in the game, or left the game pretty early. Let me leave it at that, and I'll let them comment on his status. But the Houston kid who came in did a really nice job. And I did not only did I not see them change what they do, I did not see them change the aggressiveness with which they call the game either. You know, they threw the ball quite a bit, and they threw the ball quite a bit on schedule downs with him. So he's somebody who's been in their program, and they must have a lot of confidence in him to do that. And I thought he did a good job. He looks like a good player.
Coach, Wisconsin's pass protection has been a little suspect this year, almost 2 sacks a game they're giving up. Given the lack of pass rush this season for Rutgers, are you doing anything in particular this week to make sure you get to the quarterback?
We won't do anything different than we do every week. You know, we got to look at the matchups up front, look at and see if we can predict how they'll protect. I think every defense in the country is doing that. They're a little bit younger up front than they've been. I think 3 of their starters are redshirt freshmen. So I've been through that before. I know what that's like. But I think if you watch their film and you watch their players through the year, you can see that their players are getting better. So it's going to be something we're going to have to do a good job with on third down. And pressuring the quarterback has been something that's been important to us. It's the way we play defense on third down. So we're certainly going to look to play defense that way this week.
Kyle Leonte's questionable again. Is there anything you could say to elaborate on that? Like, how has he progressed since last Monday, and do you expect his practice participation to replicate last week's?
I think what you just said is probably right, Ryan. I think it'll be a very similar situation to last week, where we're really not going to know until we get until the end of the week, you know, what we think the situation will be.
Kyle, as far as the running back rotation, any thoughts of even switching it up as far as maybe moving Robert Martin up, seeing as how he's been really effective the last couple of games?
We're going to keep the rotation the way it's been. I'm pleased with how those guys are playing. And I think if you look at the games, you'll see different players are getting different amount of carries in each game. So we've got flexibility within the game, but in terms of starting the game, I don't see any difference.
And you said you didn't give any thought to putting Hayden in before you did, like in the fourth quarter. Why not give him a series in the first half, or just because he has played well when he's been out there? It was a close competition, so I guess just why not give him a shot?
We have a starting quarterback. And I've always felt like you want to give the starting quarterback an opportunity to learn through the game and learn from game to game, which we've done with Chris. I think, although the last game was not his best performance, I think if we look at the season, I think he's gotten better and better. I'm pleased with how he's progressing, and that's the way we'll move forward.
Kyle, your first year in the Big Ten, against some of the upper echelon teams, everyone knew it would be a building process to kind of compete against some of those teams. 4 games into your second Big Ten campaign, how do you feel like your talent overall matches up with the upper echelon teams?
I don't know if I want to make those kind of comments right now. We're so entrenched right now in the Wisconsin season. It's hard for me to comment on anything but that. What we're looking at right now are matchups against a really good Wisconsin team. A defense that's eighth ranked nationally in total defense and rushing defense, 4th in red zone defense, 2nd in scoring defense. So we're going to have to do a great job of focusing on that. I'll leave those other observations until the off season. We've had a chance to really look at the whole body of work.
We asked you about the quarterback. How about their running back, Corey Clement? Do you expect him to play? I know he's been kind of questionable the last couple of weeks. He's missed a lot of games. Somebody you're very familiar with. What do you expect from Corey?
It's really hard for me to address it because I'm not with him every day. I've had players who've had that procedure, and I know kind of the time frame and things like that, but every one of them is individual. So I would really look to them to comment on it. I don't know what his progress has been and what his rehabilitation process has been like.
And then obviously one of the guys who's stepped up for you, stopping the run, Steve Longa. He's always had a lot of tackles. Is he doing anything to take his game to the next level, or are we just seeing his tackles progress?
I think what you're seeing is the evolution of a good football player. And Steve's a good football player for us. He's in a spot in our defense that we need somebody who can get people on the ground and make tackles. So he gets a lot of opportunities, and he makes the most of them. So I'm pleased with what he's doing within our scheme. And do I think he's a better player than he was a year ago? I do.
Kyle,
Coach, you've had some success early in the game, early first quarter, and initial drives, getting some momentum, but not being able to put some points on the board. Given that they only give up 11 points a game, how important is it to get a score early in the first quarter?
It's something you want to do. Every drive that you start, you want to finish it, in the end zone with points. Those are always things you want to do. But, depending on where a drive starts, if you start the drive backed up inside your own 5-yard line, there are different levels of success in that drive. The first goal is to flip the field, which means 2 first downs or the 20-yard line. If you do that and you get a good punt, you've significantly changed, the field position. And I speak about that every week. The drive start in a game is so critical. So, we're going to start every drive with the idea that we're going to score. Would we like to do it on the first drive of the game? Sure, we would. Absolutely. But ultimately, will that be the determining factor in the game? No, we're going to have to play 60 minutes to be 1-0 this week.
what did you see from the secondary on film, given the injury limitations that you had, and then what do you expect this week with guys trying to heal up?
It's a new week, and similar to what I said after the game, we see guys out there competing. They're young guys. But it's never perfect, and sometimes when you have young players out there, you see some stuff and you shake your head a little bit. But that's all part of the learning process of young football players in your system. And for us right now, a lot of those guys are in the secondary, so they're competing, they're learning, they're taking the coaching. Those are the most important things that we're seeing on a day-to-day basis. And now we got to match them up this week against a good football team.
With Grant on the injury report is questionable, if he couldn't go, who would you slide in there at punt returner?
Andre Patton.
Kyle, to piggyback on Sam with the secondary, what are the long-term benefits of playing such a young secondary, having so many kids back there?
Yeah, sure. The long-term benefits are there's no better way to progress as a player than in-game experience. And that's what they're getting. They're getting in-game experience against some of the best players in the country. And as a football player, if you're a competitor, even when those situations don't go your way, you've learned something from them, and you're a better player because of it.
2 weeks ago, you talked about being fully committed to the healing process. I know you're fully immersed with football game planning, but have you gone about, healing, the healing process with the community? And what's been the tenor of your message?
My only public appearances are probably on Wednesday nights at the radio show. I think the interaction and the reception has been good. Right now, most of what takes up our day is really, working towards being 1-0 each week.
Kyle, Andre Hunt's a guy with some connections to the Wisconsin program. Could you just remind us or fill us in on how you guys came across him? Because I think he was a walk-on. How'd you come across him, and what's his progression here been like?
Sure. Andre is from Minnesota, was a walk-on, and was somebody that got into contact with us. He had some injury issues in high school, and I believe it was Norris Wilson who brought his name to the table as somebody who could be a potential walk-on. And we watched his film. We thought he was somebody who could contribute. And I would tell you, to this point in his career, he's probably exceeded our expectations in terms of how much he's contributed and the plays he's made on game day. He's become a really valuable guy on defense, in our sub packages, and on special teams. And you really can't have enough guys like Andre Hunt in your program. We're very pleased we have him. Thank you.